Hello, hi. Year-end roundup ga Focus 2022 with Sangeetha Devi. వెల్కమ్ టు ప్రేమ ది జర్నలిస్ట్. 2022లో ఎన్నో తెలుగు సినిమాలు రిలీజ్ అయ్యాయి. పోస్ట్ పాండమిక్ మనం చూసుకుంటే అసలు చాలా సినిమాలు థియేటర్ల దాకా వెళ్ళగలిగాయి. అంతేకాకుండా అంతర్జాతీయ స్థాయిలో గుర్తింపు తెచ్చుకున్న RRR ఒక పక్కన ఉంటే, మరో పక్కన పాన్ ఇండియా లెవెల్లో కూడా మన సినిమాలు ఎన్నో సినిమాలు గుర్తింపు తెచ్చుకున్నాయి. ఇక వీటిలలో ఎన్ని సినిమాలు హిట్ అయినాయి, ఎన్ని సినిమాలు ఫట్ అయినాయి, ఎన్ని సినిమాలు మన అంచనాలకు మించి ఆడాయి, ఎన్ని సినిమాలు మనల్ని పూర్తిగా డిసప్పాయింట్ చేశాయి. సో ఎన్ని సినిమాలు ఒక మోస్తరుగా ఆడాయి. అంతేకాకుండా హీరోలు, హీరోయిన్లు, సపోర్టింగ్ రోల్స్ ప్లే చేసిన వాళ్ళు, యాంటాగనిస్టులు, ఇలాంటి వాళ్ళ పర్ఫార్మెన్సెస్ ఏ స్థాయిలో ఉన్నాయి, ఎవరు వీర లెవెల్లో పర్ఫామ్ చేశారు, ఈ అన్ని అంశాల గురించి మనం ఈరోజు మాట్లాడుకుందాం విత్ సంగీతా దేవి. షీ ఈజ్ అ ఫిల్మ్ క్రిటిక్. సో సంగీత గురించి ముందు మీకు కొంచెం చెప్పాలి. దాదాపు 2 దశాబ్దాలకు పైగా ఒక జర్నలిస్ట్గా ఉంటూ, ఫిల్మ్ క్రిటిక్గా ఒక దశాబ్ద కాలంగా చేస్తూ ఎన్నో అద్భుతమైన రివ్యూస్ చేస్తూ వచ్చారు. మనందరం రివ్యూస్ అనగానే ఒకసారి ఒక జర్క్ వచ్చేస్తుంది మనకు. ఏంటి రివ్యూస్, ఈ రివ్యూస్ని బేస్ చేసుకొని సినిమాలకు వెళ్తే ఎట్లా. చాలా సందర్భాల్లో ఇండస్ట్రీలో వాళ్ళు కూడా రివ్యూస్ ఏంటి అని అంటుంటారు. సో దెర్ ఇస్ లాట్ ఆఫ్ డిబేట్ గోయింగ్ అరౌండ్ రివ్యూస్. సో సంగీత ఈజ్ వన్ పర్సన్ హూ డజంట్ బిలీవ్ ఇన్ రివ్యూయింగ్ ద మూమెంట్ షీ వాచెస్ అ ఫిల్మ్. అంటే రివ్యూస్ అన్నవి ఎప్పుడు పడితే అప్పుడు, ఎక్కడ పడితే అక్కడ, ఎలా పడితే అలా ఇవ్వడం కాదు. సినిమా చూసి వచ్చాక దాన్ని కొంచెం ఇంటర్నలైజ్ చేసుకొని అప్పుడు ప్రశాంతంగా కూర్చొని ఆలోచించి రివ్యూ ఇవ్వాలి. బికాస్ ఇట్ ఈస్ అ లైఫ్ ఆఫ్ అ ఫిల్మ్ అండ్ వీ నీడ్ టు డూ జస్టిస్ టు అవర్ రివ్యూ. సో అలాంటి రివ్యూస్, మీనింగ్ఫుల్ రివ్యూస్, సెన్సిబుల్ రివ్యూస్ ఇచ్చే సంగీత is with me on my channel Prema the Journalist to discuss about all these things. So first series లోకి మనం వెళ్తున్నాము. Hi Sangeetha, how are you doing?
I'm good, Prema. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me here. Me interviews చూస్తుంటాను.
Yeah.
And finally you convinced me to come over here for a session.
Yes, you are very much needed. Because I'm telling you, trust me, చాలా సందర్భాల్లో నేను సినిమాలు మొదటి రోజు చూస్తుంటాను. ఒకవేళ ఏదన్నా సినిమా చూడని సినిమా ఉంటే రెండో రోజు మూడో రోజు చూస్తే ఖచ్చితంగా మీ రివ్యూ చూసి వెళ్తాను. అంటే ఐ నార్మలీ డోంట్ రీడ్ రివ్యూస్ అండ్ గో. But your reviews are like very, very, very organic, to the point, and you don't use those punchlines wherein, to humiliate the directors or producers or the actors. Rather, it is very critical. A critic అన్న పదానికి నిలువెత్తు నిదర్శనం లాగా ఉంటాయి మీ రివ్యూస్. సో దట్స్ ద రీజన్ ఐ ఫెల్ట్ దిస్ ఇయర్స్ రౌండప్ మనం ఈ సినిమాల గురించి మాట్లాడుకునేటప్పుడు who better than you అని అనిపించింది. That's the reason why I was like wanting you to be here.
And I think you are very kind. మీరు చెప్పినట్టు అదే రోజు ఒక ఫిల్మ్ చూసి రివ్యూ చేయాలంటే it is a pressure. We don't have that bandwidth any longer to say that Sunday reviews publish చేస్తాము. If you remember 10-15 years ago, that was the pattern. So you had time to think over and then form an opinion. Ippudu if you get 3 hours to 4 hours, that itself is like a big luxury.
Right.
Trying to do my best. And there are learning experiences. There are reviews that I regret. There are reviews that I feel really happy about. I think that's a journey.
Yeah, that's a journey. But నేను ఎప్పుడూ అనుకుంటుంటాను సంగీత, అంటే why is it that సినిమా చూస్తూనే చాలా మంది అప్పటికప్పుడు ఆన్ స్పాట్ ఒక 2 సీన్లు 3 సీన్లు అవుతూనే రివ్యూస్ రాయటం మొదలు పెట్టేస్తుంటారు. మీరు సినిమా చూసిన ఒక సాయంత్రానికో లేకపోతే నెక్స్ట్ డేకో, దట్ టు యూఆర్ అపాలజెటిక్ అబౌట్ ఐఎమ్ సారీ దట్ ఐఎమ్ గివింగ్ ఇట్ నౌ అని ఒక డిస్క్లైమర్ పెట్టి మరీ మీరు రివ్యూ పెడుతుంటారు, పోస్ట్ చేస్తుంటారు. వై డూ యూ థింక్ దట్ యూ షుడ్ రివ్యూ ఓన్లీ లిటిల్ లేటర్, నాట్ ఇమీడియట్లీ? ఎందుకు అనుకుంటారు మీరు అట్లా? వాట్ ఈస్ ద రీజన్?
It's an art form. We all go and watch movies because we love cinema and it's an art form. ఉండొచ్చు అప్పుడప్పుడు కొన్ని ఫ్రైడేస్ కొంచెం పనిష్మెంట్ లాగానే ఉంటాయి, లేదన్నాను. బట్ వెన్ యూ హ్యావ్ అ గుడ్ ఫిల్మ్, ఐ థింక్ యూ అట్లీస్ట్ హ్యావ్ టు వాచ్ ఇట్ ఫర్ దోస్ 2 hours or 3 hours. అదైనాక యూ హ్యావ్ టు రైట్. ఐ షుడ్ బిగ్ పార్ట్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ క్రెడిట్ గోస్ టు ది ఆర్గనైజేషన్ దట్ ఐమ్ వర్కింగ్ విత్ ఆల్సో, ద హిందూ, because you expect some quality out of it. And we are not put under that pressure that fastest finger first, అక్కడి నుంచి ఇంటర్వ్యూలో మాకు రాసి పంపించండి or immediate గా half an hour లో రాసి పంపించండి అనేసి కాదు. As long as you do it on that same day and you do a good job of it, they know that people will come back to read it.
Right.
And it will get spoken about. So if you do a shoddy job, it will be like alanti paper lo meeru ila rasara anesi.
Correct.
And nationwide, I think that's the pattern that all of us follow in different bureaus for different languages. So a big part of the credit goes to them. Vere reviewers gurinchi meeru cheptaru. I see that a lot. Interval time lo కూర్చొని రాస్తూ ఉంటారు. I feel sad for them.
Correct.
It's an unenviable situation. అక్కడ కూర్చొని అప్పుడే రాయాలి అంటే. And take for example a thriller చూస్తూ how do you write it? You have to let it sink in కదా. Not every movie requires that immediate reaction also. So
but reviewers,
it's the ecosystem.
But reviewers are normally they're bashed, and the reviewers are like they're not liked by many people, especially in the industry. They don't like reviewers, they don't want reviewers. But meek chala appreciation vastuntundi Sangeetha. I've seen many directors, actors, appreciating your reviews. They talk about it, they even repost it, they share your reviews. So I think you've reached that level where you gain that respect. You've really gained that
respect. There are a lot of people I look up to, and I think we have to keep upping our levels. ఎలా మనము మూవీస్ లో బౌండరీస్ లేదు, లాంగ్వేజ్ బౌండరీస్ లేదు, ఎవ్రీథింగ్ హెస్ బికమ్ లైక్ a pan Indian industry. Correct. Or an Indian industry అంటున్నాము. It's the same with film criticism also, more so after the pandemic. So no longer, our yardstick is about how did I review a Telugu film as far as Hyderabad is concerned. Anesi. The film is going to be watched by so many more people. So are we doing justice to it? Anesi. And some of the favorite reviewers I love reading are in Chennai, Bombay, Delhi. I look up to them, and I think there's really a long way to go as far as film criticism is concerned.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So today's first episode, so we are doing 3 episodes in a row. The first one I thought was ఈ ఏడాది అస్సలు పర్ఫామ్ చేయని సినిమాలు, అంటే డిజాస్టర్స్ అయిన సినిమాలు కొన్ని, అలాగే స్కోప్ ఉండి కూడా, అంటే కంటెంట్ ఉండి కూడా థియేటర్ల దాకా వెళ్ళలేకపోయిన సినిమాలు, వెళ్ళి కూడా ఆడలేకపోయిన సినిమాలు, అండ్ అన్ఫార్చునేట్గా ఫెయిల్ అయిన సినిమాలు. సో అంటే దాంట్లో కంటెంట్ ఉంది, దాంట్లో నిజంగా డెప్త్ ఉంది, బట్ సమ్హౌ ఇట్ డిడ్ంట్ డూ వెల్. సో ఇలాంటి సినిమాల గురించి మాట్లాడుకుందాం. విల్ గో మంత్ వైజ్, బికాస్ ఐ డోంట్ వాంట్ టు గివ్ ఎనీ నంబర్స్ లైక్ దిస్ ఇస్ ద వర్స్ట్ సినిమా, దిస్ ఇస్ ద బెస్ట్ సినిమా. సో దిస్ ఇస్ నాట్ హౌ ఐ వాంట్ టు డూ.
అండ్ వీఆర్ నాట్ ట్రేడ్ అనలిస్ట్ ఆల్సో.
ఎగ్జాక్ట్లీ. సో వీ విల్ డూ ఫ్రమ్ జనవరి 2022 జనవరి నుంచి మనం చూసుకుంటే, ఐమ్ జస్ట్ జనవరి వీ హ్యాడ్ దిస్ రిలీజ్ బంగారు రాజు. సో కోవిడ్ నుంచి బయటపడి అప్పుడప్పుడే కొంచెం కోలుకుంటున్న టైంలో మళ్ళీ కోవిడ్ మళ్ళీ స్పైక్ అవుతున్న టైంలో బంగారు రాజు రిలీజ్ అయింది. ఓమైక్రాన్ పీక్ లో ఉంది. ఎవ్రీబడి వర్ infected. But still బంగారు రాజు released. And lot of expectations, because Sogade Chinni Nayana was that great film that we all enjoyed. And it came from the same director. So what is your take on that? How did you feel? Because I didn't feel that it really did well. బాక్స్ ఆఫీస్ కలెక్షన్స్ వచ్చుంటాయి, బట్ సినిమా పరంగా చూసుకుంటే మీకేమనిపించింది?
నా ప్రిఫరెన్స్ సోగ్గాడే. That was much better made.
That was much better.
That was something innovative in that. Innovative kante, it was like, the nostalgia factor of seeing Ramakrishna and Nagarjuna together.
Exactly.
And working on what are his strengths, and that kind of a story was quite nicely handled. Old world charm unindi. But Bangar Raju, I did not think I don't think it built too well on that. It was very formulaic as it progressed towards the later half and all. We have moved past that, I thought.
Correct.
So you have to give out something new, even if you go completely mainstream and pandering to the fans also. There has to be something innovative in that, which did not happen.
ఎక్కడో కొంచెం ఆ వాసనలు వచ్చాయి, సోగ్గాడే వాసనలు కొంచెం. ఇట్ వాజ్ సౌండింగ్ రిపిటేటివ్. ఇట్ వాజ్ నాట్ ఎగ్జాక్ట్లీ సంథింగ్ న్యూ అన్న ఒక ఫీలింగ్ మనకి ఇవ్వలేకపోయారేమో అని అనిపించింది అంటే. కరెక్ట్. ఈవెన్ ఐ ఆల్సో ఫెల్ ద సేమ్ థింగ్. అండ్ దెన్ February you leave, and we have good films in February. In March we had this Radhesham. I felt it's such a big disappointer. అంటే మనం ప్రభాస్ బాహుబలి చూశాక రిలీజ్ అయిన సినిమా అసలు ఎంత ఎక్స్పెక్టేషన్స్, ఎంత హైప్ ఇచ్చారు, ఎంత దాని గురించి ఎన్ని we were thinking it would really do well. But what do you feel, Sangeetha, about the film's response, or how it felt?
Film's response, see, while watching it itself, it was very, very disappointing. There was something which of a major disconnect. You couldn't connect with the story that was being happening over there. There was inconsistency in terms of how the main actors looked also. In each portions he looked different. And the entire ship sinking towards the later portion and all that. See, unless you connect it with the story which is as solid enough, nobody's going to sit and watch it. It was probably meant to be like an epic romance saga, but you don't feel for both the characters, and why will you invest yourself in that journey?
Right.
It was set in Italy. It could have been set anywhere if you ask me. As a script, as a story, and what it translated on screen, I was so disappointed. I was thinking, it's like, they've spent so much on this,
I know.
and finally this is what we get. And I say it was more than trashing it or more than getting angry about it. I just felt incredibly sad looking at it. You might like a film or you might not like a film, but at least certain portions will be really entertaining. Konni movies lo. In this there was nothing at all.
ఎస్పెషల్లీ అసలు మనకి టీజర్ ట్రైలర్ దగ్గర నుంచి చాలా ఇట్లా డౌన్ అయిపోయాం. టీజర్ ట్రైలర్ చూసినప్పటి నుంచే వి వర్ లైక్ మొత్తం మీటర్ డౌన్ అయిపోయింది. బికాస్ ద గ్రాఫిక్స్ దట్ వర్ యూజ్ దే వర్ నాట్, I mean,
yeah, they were appealing. There was no other way of beating around the bush with
exactly
this. It was not done well.
Right. And I mean, especially for Prabhas fans, I think వాళ్ళు చాలా హర్ట్ అయి ఉంటారు. అసలు ఎంతో ఎక్స్పెక్ట్ చేశారు కదా, ఎన్నో ఏళ్ల తర్వాత ప్రభాస్ సినిమా వస్తుంది. దే లుక్ అప్ టు దట్ అండ్ obviously when it doesn't fare well, it is a big disappointment. Then April we have Acharya. So again Acharya,
another disappointment.
Yes.
Another disappointment. నాకేమనిపించిందంటే, see, we have seen Chiranjeevi garu in so many roles, now if you have to present him doing the same old things, of course he did not have a heroine, he was not dancing around, those are the pluses.
Yeah.
They did not try to project him as a very young character.
Exactly.
But what was the story about? The story was very disappointing if you ask me. See, the setup was great. You have like a fictitious temple town. The production design was fabulous, and Thiru's cinematography was so good.
Yes.
But beyond that, what else was being told? It's the same old tropes which got rechurned. And even after Charan comes, at least after Charan comes, there was a little more energy in it. And then when both of them danced together for Bale Bale Banjara, those were small moments. But then just a month ago, we saw Charan and NTR dance together so well in RRR, and what you can do with two heroes kada.
Correct.
It might have been an unfair comparison. Ee rendu cinema ni compare cheyalani kaadu, but if you don't present anything new at all, why would you go for it?
Exactly.
That was another disappointment. It was like it became boring.
Correct. Somewhere I too felt, the film was lost in between. Ante ఇంటర్వెల్కి వచ్చేసరికి, ఇంటర్మిషన్కి వచ్చేసరికి ఎక్కడో ఏదో కోల్పోయిన ఫీలింగ్ వచ్చేసింది ఆ సినిమాలో. ఎక్కడో ఏదో కనెక్టివిటీ పోయినట్టు, ఏదో అతికించినట్టు, ఏదో ఉన్నది ఉన్నట్టు కాకుండా దానికి ఇంకేదో యాడ్ చేసినట్టు. అంటే ఇట్ వాస్ నాట్ లుకింగ్ రియల్ అండ్ న్యాచురల్. లాట్ ఆఫ్ ఆర్టిఫిషియల్ ఎలిమెంట్స్ ఇంక్లూడ్ అయిన ఒక ఫీలింగ్ వచ్చింది.
Maybe to think that Koratala Siva's earlier films were much more entertaining.
Exactly.
You might like it completely or you might not like certain portions. There might be criticism about certain things in Bharatani Nenu. Some people said it's such an authoritarian character. You can't endorse this and history. But there was a lot of things which I liked in that movie as well. In each of his earlier movies, whether it's Srimantudu, Mirchi, there was so much to root for.
Yes.
But this one, somehow it missed the mark.
No, as you said, ఈ సినిమాకి సంబంధించి యాక్ట్ అవ్వచ్చు, సినిమాటోగ్రఫీ అవ్వచ్చు, క్యారెక్టరైజేషన్ ఆఫ్ సిద్ధ, ఐ మీన్ చరణ్ అండ్ చిరంజీవి, అంటే ఇండివిజువల్ గా సపరేట్ గా చూస్తే బాగున్నాయి. వీటన్నిటి కలిపితేనే ఆ కూర పాడైపోయింది.
And why
అన్ని ఇంగ్రీడియంట్స్,
why is somebody an Naxalite? What did they achieve by it, or what is their ideology? Nothing comes through. It's all very sketchy.
Right.
And Pooja Hegde's character does not even get a closure.
Correct.
For whatever she's going through, we are not shown whether she comes to terms with what has happened to Siddha. That's
what I said. Somewhere it was lost. అంటే what they actually planned maybe did not turn out. ఏదో అయిపోయింది ఆ సినిమాకి అని అనిపించింది.
At the script level.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Then we have the biggest disaster. Oh my God, that is Liger. Actually, I am a Puri fan. I was eagerly waiting for a blockbuster hit for Puri Jagannath and Vijay Deverakonda as well, because they needed the kind of hard work they put in, and enta pragmatic ga okkosari untaru Puri garu కొన్ని విషయాల్లో, when he's actually designing his characters, scripting and all, larger than life, ఆయన ఐడియాస్ అంతా అలా ఉంటాయి. నేను నిజంగా చాలా ఊహించాను ఈ సినిమా గురించి. What about you? Did you also expect that this would really do well?
I thought it would be at least entertaining.
Yeah.
To be frank, I did not think they're going to put out a masterpiece. But entertaining untundi anukunna, and because of the names connected with this, Karan Johar putting his weight behind it.
Exactly.
And then for Vijay, it was like a huge
Right.
platform to go
Right.
national, which he could have with a better project also. Making that film, I was thinking, did anybody read the script? Was there a complete script?
Okay.
It made me really sad. Because you often hear actors saying that we heard the story narration and then we went. Did you listen to the entire thing? Was there something which was entirely written and then narrated to you? Because if you had like a discussion, I don't think the script would have even made it to that level of production.
Right.
I'm nobody to judge why a film should be made or not made, but as someone who watched it, I really felt, see, when you talk about a sports drama, that is like the most beaten to death genre in the last 10 years.
Exactly.
You need to reinvent it if
Right.
you're doing an underdog story.
Right.
For example, what Sudha Kongra did with Guru, which was a remake of Sala Kadus. Then Sarpata Parambarai during lockdown. That should have been a great theatrical release, and look at the way they brought in something so fresh and unique, and like you kept going back to those sequences even on digital to watch it again and again.
Very true.
There was nothing new. Okay, even if there was nothing new, at least is it entertaining? That also was not there in this. I think I've seen all of them involved with the film give out better performances in other films. When I wrote the review, one of my colleagues asked soon after I wrote it, she said, "You wrote 900 words to say that something is bad." I said, "You know what? I can write another 900 words also." There was a blog, Miku. I don't know if you remember. Vigil Idiot Anesi. There was a... It's like, very pictorially they take out every scene, and then there was a guy in Bombay who used to do it.
Okay.
Fantastic, he used to do it. The way he used to dissect every movie, and especially movies that completely missed the mark. It was like... so I thought this film, every scene deserved a Vigil Idiot treatment. It was really unfortunate.
రియలీ అంటే చాలా ఎంతో ప్రేమ ఉండేది నాకైతే ఆ సినిమా రిలీజ్ అవుతే చాలా హిట్ అవ్వాలి. As an audience, as a normal audience, as a journalist, I really wanted that to really do well. But our disappointment ఏ స్థాయిలో ఉందంటే it was like bad. Yeah. Then the next film is Thank You. This is one film which was again such a disappointment because Vikram Kumar, the kind of a director he is, అసలు మనం చూసి ఇప్పటికి కూడా మనంలోని చాలా సీన్స్ ఇట్లా ఇంప్రింట్ అయి ఉన్నాయి నా బ్రెయిన్లో.
మనం is a favorite, as you said.
Yeah.
ఎవరైనా కూర్చోబెట్టి కథ చెప్పితే మనం కథ, అండ్ యూ వుడ్ సే, ఇస్ దిస్ ఫర్ రియల్, కెన్ యూ ఈవెన్ బై దిస్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ an idea అనేసి. I remember having a conversation with Chaitanya long ago, and he said, I just didn't relate to it in between, in the beginning, as the film was pitched to me, but then it worked because that entire family came together. Nobody else could have pulled it off, and it's something which he showed how an idea that you will not connect to instantly can be made into a very absorbing film.
Right.
Thank You, I thought, as an idea, on the paper, or as a short story maybe, saying that a man who wants to go back in time and say thank you to the people who have helped him reach thus far. It's a good idea. You wouldn't mind reading a short story like that. But when you make it into a film, are those people so interesting enough, or are their journeys and whatever happened in the past so interesting enough that it will keep you hooked? That is something I think should have been paid attention to. I liked the Malavika Nair portions. I thought that was like nicely handled and all that, but beyond that I couldn't connect with it. All these filmmakers that we are talking about today, they've all given incredible films before. So I'm sure this is just like a passing phase, and then probably next year or the year after that we'll see some really
అందుకే సంగీత నాకేంటంటే ఇప్పుడు if it was some other director, we wouldn't even have sat here and spoken
discussing about it.
Exactly. It's because it's Vikram.
Yeah.
And Vikram's work, it is incredible work we've seen. ఆయన పాస్ట్ సినిమా, ఆయన చేసిన ప్రతి సినిమా ఎంతో అద్భుతంగా తీస్తారు, చేస్తారు. అండ్ ఆయన సెన్సిబిలిటీస్ ఒక లెవెల్లో ఉంటాయి. అలాంటి విక్రమ్ నుంచి వచ్చిందనే ఒక బాధ. ఇట్ ఈస్ మోర్ దన్ చెప్పా కదా, డిసప్పాయింట్మెంట్ కంటే కూడా
I agree.
బాధ ఎక్కువ ఉంటుంది.
Even if you take his earlier films, 24,
Right.
or even Gang Leader for that matter.
Right.
I didn't like Gang Leader completely, but there was something in it which was
Exactly.
entertaining.
Right.
And 24 also had a lot of
24,
interesting things in
yeah.
it, even if you don't like it in its entirety and then you find flaws with a few things like that. Here there was nothing to take away, unfortunately.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so now let us talk about another film called Ghost. So Ghost again, Praveen Sattaru, again, see these directors, I don't know, I mean these directors are like, for me, వీళ్ళందరూ చాలా incredibly good directors. They are too good their craft and they can never fail అన్న ఒక ఒపీనియన్తో ఉంటాను నేను కొంతమంది డైరెక్టర్స్ విషయంలో. They can never fail. Among them is Praveen Sattaru.
I was so disappointed with that because he is one of the writer-directors that I really like. And PSV Garuda Vega, it kept you on your toes.
Right.
The thriller was so good and then it was mounted so well. So this was neither a stylish action kind of a film, not an emotionally riveting one also. And it was not an edge of the seat thriller also. So it was all over the place. The script was all over the place. The film itself was all over the place. And I was like, I missed it on day one for some reason. I think some health setback or something like that. So I was not able to review it. So someone else reviewed it. And but the next day I managed to go to the theater and watch it. And I was like really shocked. I was shocked. I was like, is this what it is? And that is the film I thought will be so good.
Yeah, even I. Yeah. Because coming from Praveen Sattaru, that is one reason. And somewhere Nagarjuna donning a different role, I was thinking, and he was fantastic.
And he can pull it off.
Yes, he can just pull it off. Yeah. But Nagarjuna paranga chuskunte and these stylish looks, the way he carried that role, that was
extremely fit enough to play that character.
Yes. So, but అదే నాకు మధ్యలో ఒకసారి ఎప్పుడు డౌట్ వచ్చిందంటే అసలు ప్రవీణే తీసారా ఈ సినిమా అన్న లెవెల్లో కూడా నాకు డౌట్ వచ్చేసింది.
ప్రవీణ్ రాసిందా అనేసి నాకు that doubt I had. Did he really write it?
Okay. Our own great PK, Pawan Kalyan, Bhimla Nayak. Yeah. I love the film because నాకు అయ్యప్పనం కోశం కూడా చాలా ఇష్టం.
As you said, అయ్యప్పనం కోశం ఇష్టమైన మూవీ అది నాకు. I think in the beginning of the lockdown, everybody would have sat and watched that film. It went on and on for 3 hours with the ego battles just prolonging.
Right.
So I think when they took it up for a remake, their idea was to cut down the length a little bit and give it a little bit of a Telugu mainstream flavor. But in the process, a little bit of the nuance was lost, what the original had. I still enjoyed Bhimla Nayak quite a bit.
Yes.
And I remember when the review went up, some people DM'd me and said, did you really write the review? Have you lost it an essay? So
okay.
I said, no, I enjoyed whatever I enjoyed. I enjoyed in that film and that's why I wrote it. And like Taman's background music I thought was like fantastic. It's like, it was like really foot tapping kind of the background score that he gave. I liked the face-off between Rana and Pawan Kalyan. Nitya Menon also. Right. Though that role from the original was toned down a little bit, I still thought it had a lot of spunk in it. And I thought they did a better job at Samyukta Menon's role.
Yes.
She was given a little more agency within that to, voice her thoughts. There's one incredible scene where you remember that scene. All that was there. But later, as the film progressed, I thought they got carried away by that overdose of masala. And that flashback scene, which a lot of people loved, I didn't connect to it. Probably because, you feel that I've seen this in a lot of Telugu mass masala movies. Why again should I see the same kind of a thing to show a savior? So somewhere it lost the plot a bit.
Whenever I see PK on screen, it's like for me, some awe factor is there. I just end up watching him like that without even closing my eyelids. I mean, it's like he's that fantastic on screen. Dance lo avvachu, dialogue lo avvachu. It is like, Pawan Kalyan is Pawan Kalyan. Somewhere you feel, oh my God, what a treat to the eyes అని అనిపిస్తుంది. ఎంత అనిపించినా కూడా ఇట్లా ఎక్కడో ఒక చోట 2-3 ఇలాంటి కొన్ని డిస్కనెక్ట్లు ఉంటే అబ్బా అనిపిస్తుంది. సో that way I'm talking about
True.
Bhimla.
See, you can't expect a Malayalam film to be remade with the same essence when it is mounted by a big star like Pawan Kalyan.
Right.
So you understand a little bit of change of the approach.
Correct.
But I still thought it could have been even better than what it was.
True.
It was not a bad film, but
it's not a bad film.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's not a bad film.
Exactly. Yeah. Mission Impossible. This is one film which I wanted to talk about. Because ee cinema kuda Pillalu, Taapsi, manchi feel good film.
Oh yes.
But I don't know, it didn't do well.
Some of the jokes which were written were so good, and it was like really one of those indie spirited film antam kada. So it had that kind of a flavor going for it. Also, I think a little had to do with the timing of its release also.
Yeah.
If you remember, after the Omicron wave and until summer, only those big ticket films were coming.
Right.
All with increased ticket prices as well.
Right.
With both the state governments giving their nods to it. I'm not going to debate on whether that's right or wrong. It's the producer's call. It's their call on how they want to sell their product. The reality that for 2 years people have been sitting at home watching everything at home. And when they have to shell out so much more to watch certain films, they're obviously going to pick and choose what else to watch. So I think we haven't still gone back to that pre-pandemic level of 2018 or 19, where even the smaller films had some breathing space in the theaters. Okay, 1 or 2 weeks, with a few limited number of shows, and then it'll pick up, and then you'll see the family people coming back on Sunday and Saturdays to watch it during the matinee show. That was not yet happening. I think to an extent the film suffered because of that as well.
That's because మనకి ఒక 1.5 year సినిమాలు రిలీజ్ లేక ఆగిపోయినాయి కదా. అవన్నీ రష్ బష్ గా టకా రిలీజ్లు అవుతున్నాయి. సో ఆబ్వియస్లీ ఈ గేమ్ లో యూ విల్ లూజ్. సో ఈవెన్ ఐ ఆల్సో లైక్ మిషన్ ఇంపాసిబుల్. అండ్ కాకపోతే అనదర్ థింగ్ ఈజ్ చిల్డ్రన్ ఫిల్మ్ అనగానే ఒక బ్రాండ్ పడిపోతుంది. అంటే అబ్బా చిన్నపిల్లల సినిమా ఏం చూస్తాంలే అని. సో దట్ ఆల్సో ఐ థింక్ could be one of the reasons for people not going.
Maybe it is that phase was so difficult to gauge what people will like, what will they patronize in theaters, and what they would prefer to watch on OTT అనేది. That was a difficult phase. So I think it just got lost in between.
నిజంగా అది ఓటీటీలో వచ్చినప్పుడు నేను చూసాను. and I couldn't see in the theater, but such a good film. Okay, and then now we have to talk about Sarkaru Vari Paata.
Okay.
It's released in May. So again, Sarkaru Vari Paata. See, Mahesh is someone is like, even if he just stands in a film, that film will do well. I mean, anta charisma undi aa manishiki. The way he carries himself, the kind of applause and appreciation and power he has, adi ఏ లెవెల్ కన్నా వెళ్ళిపోతుంది. But again, I felt somewhere Sarkaru Vari Paata was not that great film for Mahesh. That's my personal feeling.
It was entertaining in certain portions. Definitely it was really nice to see him loosen up and have a ball. The scenes between him and Vanilla Kishore, I thought those were like really fun.
Yes.
Danced so well. All that was there. But the story again, ultimately, as the film progressed, it just became the same old thing which you're presenting in a different format. Which was a little, it could have been so much more. I think over the last few films, his idea was to say that let me deliver a few blockbusters and play safe. So that has probably been the idea behind this. Nenokadine, that kind of a risk he's no longer taking.
Yeah, correct.
Which is a pity. Probably, I'm not saying about that script. That is a film which I think me and Hemant, who was reviewing it, we both were among the minority who really liked that film.
I love the film.
I loved
One Nenokadine.
But I remember the stunned silence in the theater. I didn't go for the press show. I was watching it at Prasad's on a different screen. There's absolute silence. I could just sense that the disappointment in people, that is not what they came expecting for, but it worked for me. It didn't work for a lot of people. Probably that's the idea behind saying that, okay, you want me to do these masalas, I'll give it to you. Hopefully the next project it'll tap something more.
Now I'm looking forward to Rajmouli's film. I think that should change a bit of the outlook konchamaina.
It will definitely change.
Yeah. Then we have F3.
Okay.
So F3 is also one film which not so great అని అనిపించింది. It was good. It was a good film, okay film. Not like F2. F2 was like fantastic.
F2 was more fun. The first half of F2 especially, you kept laughing a lot of time. Venkyasana, and then there was so much more for it. Even though it was very silly, you know that this is silly, but you keep laughing.
Right.
There's no harm in that for once in a while.
Correct.
F3, some portions were funny. But beyond that, nothing lingers in your mind. అప్పటికి చూసి నవ్వుకుని and then you don't remember what happened later. After a few months when you sit and recollect, it's like, what did I see?
రైట్ ఎంతో రెపిటేటివ్ గా అనిపించి అంటే సేమ్ కదా F2 లోనే అదే మనుషులు అదే మేనరిజమ్స్ అవే ఐడియాలజీస్ అవే థాట్ ప్రాసెస్లు అవి రిపీట్ అయినట్టు ఉన్నాయి. ఒక కొత్త ఎలిమెంట్ ఉంటే బాగుంటుందని ఈవెన్ సమ్వేర్ ఐ ఫెల్ట్ దో ఇట్స్ నాట్ అ బ్యాడ్ ఫిల్మ్. It was entertaining throughout.
It was a time pass film that you watch, but nothing more than that.
Exactly. Then we have Ante Sundaraniki,
my favorite.
Yeah, even I like it. But చాలా mixed reviews వచ్చాయి ఆ సినిమాకి. మనకు నచ్చుండొచ్చు, బట్ సమ్వేర్ అందరు రివ్యూస్ విని చూసి అర్థం చేసుకున్నప్పుడు నాకేమనిపించింది అంటే కొద్దిలో కొద్ది మేబీ కరెక్ట్ ఏమో ఆ రివ్యూస్ అని అనిపించింది, ఎస్పెషలీ ద డ్యూరేషన్ ఆఫ్ ద ఫిల్మ్. సో వాట్ డూ యూ హ్యావ్ టు సే అబౌట్ Ante Sundaraniki?
I think it was like a critic's favorite. If you look at top 10 lists or not top 10 lists, favorite lists which are put out by major news portals, everybody I think has Ante Sundaraniki on the list and thought that it deserved better. And if you look at people who have watched it also, there are a lot of normal people. I'm not talking about fan clubs, Nani's fan clubs. The others also who talk about why they liked the film and the scenes that they liked the film over the last few days. They've been sharing a lot of things that they liked in the film. But equally, there are a lot of people who say that, that screenplay was like, so complex. You have to keep going back and forth so much into their childhood and adolescence and then come back here and then to sit for 3 hours because you've already made your point. Though it's a favorite of mine, if you detach yourself from it, look back and then think about why this film did not do as well as it should have done. Many reasons come to mind. One, probably because it just came 1 week after Major and Vikram. Both were fantastic hits at the theaters.
Exactly.
Right? So, and people were fine. It was not like the Omicron wave and all that. You had moved past that. But after watching 2 films, if you have to watch a third one, unless it's going to be really good, nobody's going to come. And there was already this kind of a talk, which the divided talk, which came out saying 3 hours kuchovalna like that. That could have been a deterrent for some of the family audiences to say for a rom-com, is it a romance drama or is it a family drama and should we sit for 3 hours and edi. See, it's a very, very tough call. Vivek Atreya, in a recent interview with Ram Venkat Srikar for Indian Express, he said next film lo 2 characters pettapothunna. Length. So it shows how irritated he must have been with all that kind of feedback. And we always, I've seen that talk about lag coming up whenever they talk about any film that slows down a bit, correct. Which is unfair. Right. But in this film, if you remove yourself far away from it and just look at it objectively, maybe sacrificing a few minutes would have made the film reach to a lot more people. See, Vikram again was 174 minutes, but you did not feel the length at all because the story was so packed with so many things. No, there was no scope for a lag.
Exactly.
Because when you're watching it, you were thinking of the interlinks from Karti's Kaidi. And the whole setup of Kamal Hassan's reveal, and so much was happening over there, and then that Surya, the way he comes. So you did not feel the length at all. Then Ponniyin Selvan also 167 minutes. Yes. A lot of people at that point said that the film feels so rushed. People who did not connect to the film. Okay, I mean, I belong to the category that I love the film, probably because I've grown up reading the book and I know that environment and what they're talking about. So for me, it did not require an introduction. It was like diving in straight.
Okay.
But for a lot of other people, they said they could have allowed it to breathe a little more. 3 hours also we would have seen an essay. Now you're talking in hindsight. If he had made a 3-hour film, you would have said, who will sit and watch this for 3 hours? So if a film succeeds, everything that they do with it is like a payoff and you feel, they pulled it off. They went against the norm and they pulled it off.
Right. What you said here is one thing which I agree upon. See, lengthy is fine.
Yeah.
There should not be a lag. There's a difference. I mean, lengthy should be there. There are many films. Avatar was 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
And people just watched it. They just loved it. Avatar, 3.5 hours film.
Also,
and
this
even
was an
Bahubali,
film.
RRR, all of them are like that. Naakaithe personally ishtamu Ante Sundaraniki. But again, it should have done well.
It should have done well.
It should have done well. Yes. Then Virata Parvam. This is one film which I really loved. It was so poetic. It was so nice. And because I belong to the generation where I saw what is Maoism, Naxalism. I've known. కాబట్టి మేబీ నేను కనెక్ట్ అయ్యి ఉండొచ్చు, మీరు కనెక్ట్ అయ్యి ఉండొచ్చు. కానీ చాలా మంది ఇప్పుడు జనరేషన్కి తెలీదు. సో వాట్ ఈస్ Maoism, what is Naxalism, what is this?
That part of it even I did not connect to.
Okay.
But I only appreciated the fact that he did not romanticize it so much. Venudukula. There are those very beautiful scenes where she draws a heart over the sickle reflection kada. But it's only she because she likes Ravanna. It's not about she liking the entire movement or something like that. And she is a young girl at an impressionable age who's doing that. They didn't romanticize it too much, thankfully, because it's not a very relevant scenario for this day and age when you look at a 90s story. See, Virata Param is not a film that everybody will like. Andarku nachtundi anesi you cannot say so. It's not everybody's cup of tea, and it's not an easy watch also. But Sai Pallavi was like so wonderful. And I think it was also incredible of Rana to back a project like this. Otherwise, it would not have gotten made.
Exactly. It wouldn't have seen light only. Actually speaking. ఎందుకంటే అందులో ఒకటి పోయిటిక్, ఒకటి అతని తెలుగు పదాలు, ఆ వాక్యాలు, అతని డైలాగ్స్ కూడా ఎవ్రీథింగ్ జనాలకి ఈజీగా అట్లా అర్థమయ్యేలాగా ఉండవు. బట్ అర్థం చేసుకుంటే మాత్రం చాలా డెప్త్ ఉంటుంది. So it's all depends upon.
And those who liked it, I think they just absolutely
loved it. Exactly.
Because frame by frame they take screenshots and say how beautifully this was.
Beautiful lines,
mounted.
exactly. Right. Yeah. Okay, then we have Okay Oka Jeevitam. This film also is such a good film.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it didn't. It also had this. అంటే చాలా మందికి విపరీతంగా నచ్చింది, లేకపోతే అస్సలు నచ్చలేదు. But critically acclaimed. చాలా మంది critics మెచ్చుకున్నారు సినిమాని.
I like the film a lot.
Yeah.
In fact, I did not expect that it would have been so beautifully done also. I really liked it. I mean, the emotional connect, I think, was like really nicely established.
Right.
The whole idea of just going back to your childhood and meeting your own younger self in school, meeting your late mother, being a part of her journey. All that was so good. And then even the camaraderie between Priyadarshi, Vanilla Kishore and Sharvanand, I thought that was nice.
Yeah.
Or even Ritu had a smaller role in this, but I thought
some impact was there.
Yeah. It was nice. And it also put forth that message that you cannot play with fate.
Correct.
Ultimately.
Correct.
So it gives that character an emotional closure, asking him to just go ahead with his life and gain his voice again. Otherwise he has that kind of a inertia and an inhibition, right, which out of which he is struggling to come out. Idea level, and as a film also I really liked it a lot. It's still a mystery to me why it didn't.
Exactly. I mean, everybody liked it. చాలా మందికి నచ్చింది, చాలా మంది అప్రిషియేట్ చేశారు. బట్ ఆ బాక్స్ ఆఫీస్ అంటారు చూడండి,
అవును,
అది దట్ ఈస్ వేర్ that speaks.
Yeah,
that's it. Then we have this recent film that's released in November, Urvashu Rakshasivo. That's one film that నా రిజర్వేషన్స్ నాకున్నాయి, మీ రిజర్వేషన్స్ ఏంటో మీరు చెప్పండి. అంటే అదొక రీమేక్ ఫిలిం. ఐ లైక్ ద ఫిలిం పర్ సే, బట్ ఐ ఫెల్ట్ అందరూ చూడగలిగే సినిమా కాదు, అందరూ చూస్తే బాగుంటుంది అని అనుకునే సినిమా అని నాకు అనిపిస్తుంది. అంటే ఐ వాంట్ ఈవెన్ 13-year-old 14-year-old ఆల్సో టు వాచ్, బికాస్ అంటే మన ఆ ఏజ్ నుంచే చాలా మంది చాలా తప్పుటడుగులు వేస్తుంటారు, తప్పు నిర్ణయాలు తీసుకుంటారు. సో అలాంటి వాళ్ళకి ఇలాంటి సినిమా నిజంగా హెల్ప్ చేస్తుంది. అంటే వేర్ యూర్ గోయింగ్ రాంగ్, వేర్ యూ షుడ్ హోల్డ్, వేర్ యూ షుడ్ లీవ్, ఇమోషన్స్ని ఎక్కడ పట్టుకోవాలి, ఎక్కడ వదిలేయాలి అన్న కాన్సెప్ట్ ఆ పిల్లలకి, ఆ ఏజ్ గ్రూప్ పిల్లలకి కూడా తెలిస్తే బాగుంటుంది అని అనిపిస్తుంది. కానీ అది చూడలేకపోవడానికి కారణం ఫ్రేమ్ బై ఫ్రేమ్లో టూ మచ్ ఆఫ్ ఇంటిమేట్ సీన్స్, స్మూచెస్. సో అది కొంచెం అడ్డుపడిందేమో అని నాకు అనిపిస్తుంది. సో వాట్ ఈస్ యువర్ టేక్ ఆన్ దాట్?
Okay, that's a valid point. As you're talking as a mother of a teenager, I can see your
because point. I want everyone to watch it. Naku aa cinema andaru chudali anna na feeling, because that's a good film.
See, the counter argument to this would be, which I've often heard, and to an extent I agree, that every film need not be a family film.
Exactly.
Different age groups ki different movies and different stories you have to present anedi. That's fine. As a story, I really liked Pyar Prema Kadal also. The original as well. I went in without knowing anything about that film during a trip back home. I took my parents along with it, and as you said, for the first few minutes I was like, did I bring them to a wrong film? But after that, they were like, chill, we are also
Yeah.
enjoying it. So
Okay.
I was fine with that.
Okay.
What I liked even in the adaptation was the non-judgmental gaze for the woman's character.
Right.
Where she has agency and she says, this is who I am. So don't judge me for it. So it's like,
No, exactly.
the dynamics
This is
of
what
romance
even
has
I want
changed.
to
Urban
say.
romance has changed so much, and this film just depicts that.
Yeah.
And they, which I thought was good. And then she asserting herself and saying that these are my dreams. I want to open my own restaurant, and only then I can think of settling down.
Right.
So he with a middle class kind of an outlook where his priorities are different, her priorities are different, whether these two worlds match. There was a lot going for it.
Right. నువ్వు మీరు అన్న పాయింట్ తో ఒకటి అగ్రి చేస్తాను. అంటే అన్ని సినిమాలు అందరూ చూడక్కర్లేదు కాదు. నేను అనేది ఏంటంటే అంటే హౌ లవ్, హౌ సెక్స్, హౌ ఇంటిమసీ, హౌ పెట్రియార్కీ, హౌ విమెన్స్ వాయిస్ అవన్నీ ఎంత మిస్ఇంటర్ప్రెట్ అవుతున్నాయి ఈ రోజుల్లో, దిస్ టుడేస్ టైమ్ అండ్ ఏజ్ లో ఇవన్నీ చాలా మిస్ఇంటర్ప్రెట్ అవుతున్నాయి. అసలు లవ్ అంటే ఏంటో అనేది క్లారిటీ చాలా మంది కదా కన్ఫ్యూజ్ స్టేట్ లో ఉన్నారు పిల్లలు. సో అలాంటి పిల్లలకి ఇలాంటి సినిమా, సి అ వుమన్ హూ టాక్స్ ఫర్ హర్ సెల్ఫ్, who tells this is right, this is my life, I want to take decision. And I think అందరూ చూడాలి కదా అన్న ఒక పాయింట్ అనమాట. దెన్ వీ హ్యావ్ పంచతంత్రం. దిస్ ఫిలిం ఐ థింక్ నాకేమనిపించిందంటే ఇట్ సెట్ అ స్టేజ్ ఫర్ ఆంథాలజీ ఇన్ థియేటర్స్. ఆంథాలజీ మన థియేటర్లో కూడా రిలీజ్ చేయొచ్చు అని. మనం ఎప్పుడో లాంగ్ బ్యాక్ వేదం తర్వాత మళ్ళీ మనం చూడలేదు అసలు ఆంథాలజీస్.
డోంట్ రిమెంబర్ వాట్ ఎల్స్ కేమ్ అవుట్ ఇన్ తెలుగు.
రైట్. సో వాట్ డు యూ థింక్ అబౌట్ పంచతంత్రం?
Panchantantram was okay for me. I won't say I liked all the 5 stories. Okay, 2 stories I really liked. A couple of them I really felt did not hit the mark as a theatrical experience. But to be fair, this was conceptualized as a digital project. But we know what happened in the last year, I think for about 6 months or 7 months, the last 6 months. OTTs have not been picking up any project unless they have commissioned it, especially if it's like a film. Anthology and all, or unless it has like really recognizable names. That's what I've heard. Which is why even a film like Sakini Dakini was forced to go to the theaters. Originally, which was conceptualized as a digital film. So Panchantantram had that going for itself. It didn't have big names. So it must have been such a tough journey for them.
Correct.
As an idea of Brahmanandam as a writer and who wants to it's never too late to start a journey, and 5 stories for 5 senses. All that was nice. I loved a couple of stories as well, especially the one which Shivatmika was there. I liked that. And
I liked it was Divya Sripada's
I like Divya. I like Divya. Not so much the story. Because I thought that terminal illness is such a often used concept, and unless you present it in a very new pattern or bring in something into it, that was my opinion. But I know a lot of people who love the third part.
బట్ ఐ థింక్ ఇట్ సెట్ అ స్టేజ్. అంటే కొంచెం ఒక ఫీలర్ ఇచ్చింది. మనం కూడా కొన్ని ఫ్యూచర్ లో ఆంథాలజీతో రావచ్చు, థియేటర్లకు తీసుకురావచ్చు అన్న ఒక స్టేజ్ అయితే సెట్ చేసిందని అనిపించింది. దట్ వే థ్యాంక్ యూ సో మచ్ సంగీత. ఫైనలీ బిఫోర్ వి క్లోజ్, సో ఆన్ ద హోల్ వాట్ యూ సే, అంటే ఈ ఇయర్ రిలీజ్ అయిన సినిమాల్లో డిజాస్టర్స్ ఉన్నా, ఫ్లాప్స్ ఉన్నా, అంతగా ఆడలేకపోయిన సినిమాలు ఉన్నా, overall what do you think the perspective of cinema this year and the perspective of audience, how do you think the whole holistic ga chusukunte ela anpichindi?
I think it's another year of transition, I would say. See, 2018, 2019 we had some fantastic films even in Telugu. That was a time I think when Broche Varevarura, Jersey and those kind of films found a lot of patronage in theaters. Somewhere this year we are still missing out on that. See, there are some really good films in what we discussed also. But, the year opened with the hangover of Pushpa, then RRR, KGF. Those very big kind of a film. So nobody knew what people would come to watch in the theaters and what they wouldn't watch. And then towards the later half of the year, people started coming out, appreciating a lot more films, even smaller and medium budget films also. But it's still a struggle. Somewhere I feel we have not yet gone back to the pre-pandemic level of letting a film find its audience in the theaters.
Yes.
Let's see how it goes.
Yeah. Thank you so much. So we'll go to the next episode on actors and actresses, on performers who've really done well this year and who's like are in our eyeballs. మనలో ఉండిపోయారు వాళ్ళు, మన హార్ట్లో ఉండిపోయారు. అండ్ ఐ థింక్ దే ఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు గో అ లాంగ్ వే. సో లెట్ us discuss about them in our next episode.
Looking forward to it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks again.